Hello everyone, welcome to Trades Talk Tuesday. I'm your host Pop, and with over 25 years of experience, I'd like to share my knowledge and experience with you about the skilled trades. So, to start off, as we so often do, we'd just like to say hello to the people at Kick and Rumble, and of course the usual YouTube suspects. You know who you are. First off the bat, hitting up the Brave web browser. There we go. And we'll just look in on some of the news stories, because you can always tell how well the economy's doing by how many good deals have been done by companies and such. Here, but you can't Okay, no problem, DJ Ronnie G. I appreciate you stopping by. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. Further negotiations won't bring an end to the BC port workers strike, employers say. Well, we got to sort that stuff out. You can't type well. Okay. Not a problem, buddy. North American Trade Pact on third anniversary. Optimism is rising for U.S. and Mexican workers. Not for the Canadian workers? What's going on here? Mitsui High-Tech investing $100 million to expand EV parts plant in Ontario. Unifor serves bargaining notice to Detroit 3. I take it that's for the big three automotive. GM, Ford, Chevy, or GM, Ford, Dodge. Georgia governor attacks Biden's electric vehicle policy at federally backed battery material maker. Canadian economy holds steady in April as real GDP remains unchanged, StatCan reports. I don't know how much you can trust those guys. Threatened by shortages, electric car makers race for supplies of lithium for batteries. Oh, this ought to be good. Which country are they going to invade now to steal all their lithium? Beijing. Threatened by possible shortages of lithium for car electric batteries, automakers are racing to lock in supplies of the once obscure white gold in a politically and environmentally fraught competition from China to Nevada to Chile. General Motors Company and the parent company of China's BYD Auto Limited went straight to the source and bought stakes in lithium miners, a rare step in an industry that relies on outside vendors for copper and other raw materials. Others are investing in lithium refining or ventures to recycle the silvery white metal from used batteries. A shortfall in lithium supplies would be an obstacle for plans to ramp up sales of tens of millions of electric vehicles a year. It is fueling political conflict over resources and complaints about the environmental cost of extracting them. We already have the risk of not being able to get enough, GM's chief financial officer Paul A. Jacobson said at a Deutsche Bank conference in mid-June. We've got to have partnerships with people that can get us the lithium in the form that we need. Ford Motor Company has signed contracts stretching up to 11 years into the future with lithium suppliers on 2 continents. Volkswagen AG and Honda Motor Company are trying to reduce their need for freshly mined ore by forming recycling ventures. Global lithium output is on a track to triple this decade, but sales of electric SUVs, sports cars, and sedans that rose 55% last year threaten to outrun that. Each battery requires about 8 kilograms of lithium plus cobalt, nickel, and other metals. There will be a shortage of EV battery supplies, says Joshua Cobb, senior auto analyst for BMI. Adding to uncertainty, lithium has emerged as another conflict in strained U.S.-Chinese relations. Oh, big surprise, eh? Beijing, Washington, and other governments see metal supplies for electric vehicles as a strategic issue and are tightening controls on access. Canada ordered 3 Chinese companies last year to sell lithium mining assets on security grounds. Hey, Veritex, how you doing? Good to see you. Other governments, including Indonesia, Chile, and Zimbabwe, are trying to maximize their return on deposits of lithium, cobalt, and nickel by requiring miners to invest in refining and processing before they can export. GM is buying direct access to lithium by investing $650 million in Canadian developer of a Nevada mine that is the biggest U.S. source. In return, GM says it will get enough for 1 million vehicles a year. Conservationists and American Indians are asking a federal court to block development of the Nevada mine, which the Biden administration has embraced as part of its clean energy agenda. Opponents say it might poison water supplies and soil and pollute nesting grounds for birds. Despite rising output, the industry may face shortages of lithium and cobalt as early as 2025 if enough isn't invested in production, according to Leonardo Paoli and Timur Gull of the International Energy Agency. Supply-side bottlenecks are becoming a real challenge, Paoli and Gull said in a report last year. Automakers might be putting in their own money to reassure notoriously risk-averse miners, according to Alistair Bedwell of Global Data. He said miners are reluctant to go all out on lithium until they are sure the industry won't switch to batteries made with other metals. Even if they do, developing lithium sources is a years-long process. Worldwide lithium resources are estimated at 80 million tons by the U.S. Geological Survey. Bolivia's are the biggest at 21 million tons, followed by Australia with 17 million and Chile with 9. Forecasts of annual production range as high as 1.5 million tons by 2030, but demand, if EV sales keep rising at double-digit annual rates, is forecast to increase up to 3 million tons. EV sales took off in 2021, more than doubling over the previous year to 6.8 million. According to EV Volumes, a research firm, last year's sales rose to 10.5 million. China accounted for 60% of last year's sales, 2/3 of production, and 3/4 of battery manufacturing. Why doesn't the industry just keep using deep cycle batteries? Surely they can fit a lot of those on a bus. Batteries are not my forte. I'm not like very versed in what all that is entailing, but lithium is, the most current and supposed to be longest lasting battery. So I don't know why they wouldn't just go for deep cycle like you're saying. There's got to be a drawback somewhere. So I don't know what they're figuring on doing that. Good enough for submarines since 1912, from what you can figure. Okay. Yeah, I know they usually are good for lithium is way more energy dense. Okay. Also, if you want to just have a peek at what Afghanistan's lithium deposits are, just to see whether if that whole going into Afghanistan was a little bit more than just hunting down people. Just a little food for thought there. Batteries are not just metallic, they have chemical bases that you think have to be rebuilt. Okay. You still like the simplicity of water, lead, and juice? Yeah. Anode, cathode, bit of acid. And there you go, you're making electricity. All right. President Joe Biden last year announced an official goal for half of all new cars sold in the United States to be electric or other zero-emissions technology by 2030. As sales rise, so does official anxiety, especially in Washington and Beijing, about access to lithium and other minerals and the potential for strategic competition. Volkswagen's battery unit PowerCo signed an agreement with Canada last August to develop suppliers of critical raw materials, including lithium, cobalt, nickel. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, in a statement, welcomed a cooperation with close friends on raw material security. China's government has accused the United States, Canada, Japan, and other governments of misusing phony security concerns to hurt Chinese competitors in electric cars, smartphones, clean energy, and other emerging technologies. That's because the stuff they put out is garbage. I've seen their electric cars. I've seen all the stuff that China makes. It's garbage. It's crap. Don't buy it. It's cheap garbage. Other governments welcome Chinese investment. China's biggest lithium producer, Ganfeng Lithium, bought Argentina's Lithia Incorporated last year for $962 million. About 2/3 of the world's lithium comes from mines. That involves crushing rock and using acids to extract metals. It leaves toxic heaps of chemical-laced tailings. Yes, it does. That's exactly right. The rest is extracted from salt lakes or salt flats that can require vast evaporation ponds. The industry is working on technology to extract lithium from hot springs and clay deposits with less environmental impact. As they ramp up supplies, automakers face another bottleneck, lack of refining capacity to purify raw lithium into battery material. Tesla Inc. is building a refinery in Texas. Others, including BMW AG, are buying stakes in refiners. As for GM, I don't know whether it will build its own refinery, Jacob said. There you go. That's that article. Are you the only one that remembers making a battery out of potato in science class? No, I remember that too. That was pretty neat. Or lemon juice and whatnot. Yeah. Imagine if they could mine and bring lithium back to Earth from asteroids. That would surely make it a lot easier, but maybe the price would fall. I'm not sure. It'd be a little tougher when you're mining asteroids. Lemons too. Exactly, DJ Ronnie G. Exactly. What do we got here? Hisense's new Canadian headquarters. You guys heard of Hisense before? I think they are the ones that make electronics, televisions and such. Hisense Canada set up a new regional headquarters in Mississauga, Ontario. Hisense Canada will be operating out of a main floor in the office building at 2550 Meadowvale Boulevard, Mississauga. Hisense is rapidly growing as more consumers become aware of the quality and value we offer in home electronics and appliances, said Quan Li Chen, GM Hisense Canada. This is a brand with a strong global presence, and our new base of operations in Mississauga will be a strong foundation for future growth of the brand in Canada. Hisense debuted in Canada in 2012 as one of the top-selling TV brands in the world. And in its decade-plus years in Canada, Hisense is offering products in home electronics, appliances, and air products. Okay. I wasn't sure about Hisense, whether they were good or not. I haven't used any of their televisions or anything yet. What else we got here? Unifor serves bargaining notice. Yes, yes. North American Trade Pact on 3rd anniversary. Optimism is rising for U.S. and Mexican workers. What about you guys? Do you hear any optimism? I mean, you're my American compatriots. You guys are there. Is there optimism for U.S. workers? I'm not sure. I mean, you guys have a positive outlook? So the article goes on. President Donald Trump, America's trade relationship with Mexico was intolerable. He seethed over the U.S. trade deficit and shuttered factories in America's heartland. No longer, he vowed 6 years ago, are we going to allow other countries to break the rules, to steal our jobs, and drain our wealth. So Trump pressured Mexico and Canada to replace their mutual pact with one more to his liking. After a couple of years of negotiations, he got what he wanted. Out of the North American Free Trade Agreement, in was the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement. The USMCA, which Trump hailed as the fairest, most balanced, and beneficial trade agreement we've ever signed, will reach its 3rd anniversary Saturday. The trade pact hasn't proved to be the economic bonanza Trump boasted would be, it couldn't have been, given the trade makes up less than a third of America's $26 trillion economy. Yet, while the deal's overall impact has been slight, it has nevertheless been helping workers on the ground. It's just that the beneficiaries have so far been mostly in Mexico. Novel provisions of the pact have enhanced the ability of long exploited Mexican workers to form unions and secure better wages and working conditions. Trade officials and experts predict, though, that the benefits will also flow in time to U.S. workers who no longer must compete with severely underpaid Mexican laborers without real bargaining power. U.S. workers win when workers in other countries have the same rights, said Kathy Feingold, director of the AFL-CIO's International Department. I think that's American Federation of Labor. Thea Lee, a deputy undersecretary of the U.S. Labor Department, suggested that the pact and Mexico's reforms haven't been around long enough to yield measurable help to American workers yet. We're going to see positive results first for Mexican workers because Mexico is undergoing a massive, comprehensive, ambitious labor market reform, she said. In some ways, the USMCA as a whole has fallen short of Trump's promises. Of course, knocking him again, right? You got to just keep smacking the guy for no reason. Vertex, there is no optimism as long as the current administration is in Washington, period. They do more to hold us back than they do to help us move forward, and they're supposed to be progressives. Well, there you go. And yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? You know, the government should help and work for the people instead of working against them and oppressing them. And I know anyone of my fellow Canadians can tell you that our government oppresses us more than it helps us. It does so much to keep us under their thumb. It is not a fun place to be. Hey, Whoopa, how you doing? Greetings from Savannah. You down in Georgia, boy? Nice. That's good. I'm glad you made it there. You're all safe and everything. Enjoying your 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to all my American friends, by the way. I'm glad you guys are having a good time. Having fireworks and loving the country you're in. That's good stuff. Where was I here? Take the trade deficit with Mexico. Despite Trump's insistence that the USMCA would pull more manufacturing back to the United States, the gap between what America sells and what it buys from Mexico keeps widening. It has surged from the $64 billion gap in 2016 that so irritated Trump to a record $139 billion last year. Okay, well, that's fine, but how long has Biden been in? Why hasn't he done anything about it? You know, what's the problem here? Keep ragging on Trump, but you don't bring up the guy that's in power now? I'm sure he could do something if somebody told him to do something and he remembered. Your back and shoulders are bright red. Your legs are sapped with strength and your belly's a little queasy. That's how you know it was a good beach day. Nicely done. A little bit of sunburn, a little bit of sunstroke. Keep drinking that water, though. The former president also predicted that exports of U.S. auto parts to Mexico would rise by $23 billion. They have increased since 2020, but only to about $8 billion. Okay. You don't expect they're ever going to be able to say that the USMCA accomplished very much, said Alan Durdoff, professor emeritus of economics and public policy at University of Michigan. I don't think it hurt much, but I don't think it helped much. Kind of like every government. Trump said the pact would create 76,000 auto industry jobs. Since January 2020, vehicle and parts manufacturers have actually added nearly 90,000 jobs. And North American commerce has flourished. America's trade with Canada and Mexico exports plus imports reached a record $1.78 trillion last year. That was up 27% from 2019 and above a 20% gain in trade with China over the same period. In reference to Canada, recently the U.S. got its act together that we could liberate Canada from the tyranny to get a better constitution for you, but you don't see that happening with current situation. No, not with current situation. especially when our own Prime Minister loves China. He loves the CCP, and he loves the leader of China. The guy looks up to, he even said publicly, he looks up to the way China does things. That is disgusting. And I can't wait until he gets voted out, because he is a disgusting non-human. He's not even a human to me. He's just disgusting. Everything's Trump's fault, don't you know? Yeah. You know, man, you don't know original sin was all Trump's fault? I mean, all he had to do was look at Eve, and she did sin. Yeah. Yeah. Here. I just want you to try this apple. Just try it. It's the best apple you ever had. U.S. economy crash, Trump. COVID, Trump. Ukraine and Afghanistan, Trump. 100 degrees out, Trump. Guy cuts you off in traffic, definitely Trump. Stub your toe on dinner table, you guessed it, Trump. Yeah, I guess you guys hear it a lot, eh? I don't pay attention to the news at all, so I don't bother. It's just all noise, propaganda. And if it happened before Trump, then it's Reagan's fault. Or a coworker uses that as a go-to. Oh yeah, Reagan, eh? Yeah. Oh, Reagan. Oh, he's so bad. Oh, good actor. I didn't mind him. He's a good actor. He was married to Jane Wyman before he married Nancy. And she was a famous actress. Pretty good looking, too. Well, hello, Alex Moore. Nice to see you. And happy 4th of July to you. Looks like they took the song for log from Ren and Stimpy and replaced the log with Trump, only reversing all the superlatives. The superlatives, yes. It's Trump, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood. Trump, he's better than bad, he's good. But yeah, I get you. But it's hard to tease out which economic gains can be credited to the USMCA and which happened for a variety of unrelated reasons. That is especially true in light of unusual economic tumult of the past 3 years. A devastating pandemic followed by severe labor shortages and supply chain backlogs and a resurgence of rampant inflation. Also, complicating any effort to calculate the USMCA's impact is Joe Biden's own aggressive efforts to rejuvenate American industry with trillions of dollars in infrastructure spending and subsidies. For all of Trump's bombast, the USMCA actually left in place much of the pact it replaced. NAFTA erased most of the import taxes that the United States, Mexico, and Canada imposed on each other's goods. It created a duty-free regional bloc meant to compete with the European Union and China. That structure remains mostly in place. It's still pretty much the same as NAFTA, Dirdhoff said. Still, some substantive changes have occurred when NAFTA took effect in 1994. For instance, the internet, e-commerce, and smartphones weren't part of everyday business. The new pact updated North American trade rules for the digital age. The USMCA, for instance, bars the United States, Mexico, and Canada from hitting each other with import taxes on music, software, games, and other products sold electronically, allows the cross-border use of electronic signatures and authentication, and protects companies from having to disclose in-house source codes and algorithms. Given how it modernized North American trade, the USMCA is a marked improvement, said Neil Harrington, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Senior Vice President for the Americas. Perhaps the most consequential change the pact wrought were designed to reverse one of NAFTA's unhappy byproducts for Americans. The old deal incentivized companies to close factories in the United States, ship production to lower-wage Mexico, then export goods back to the United States, duty-free. The USMCA sought to make it harder for autos and auto parts to enjoy tariff-free treatment to qualify. 75% of a car and its parts had to come from North America, up from 62.5% under NAFTA. That meant more content had to come from higher-wage North American workers, not imported cheaply from China or elsewhere. And at least 40% of vehicles would have to originate in places where workers earn at least $16 an hour. That is, the United States and Canada, not Mexico. But those so-called automotive rules of origin stumbled out of the gate. Enforcement was delayed as custom officials faced supply chain backlogs at the height of the COVID crisis. Border officials were worried about clearing cargo in ports and getting rid of congestion, said Daniel Ucho, senior counsel at the law firm Thompson Hine in Columbus, Ohio. They didn't have a ton of time to deal with USMCA. Funny thing is, we didn't even like Trump when he was on The Apprentice. Fantasy, everybody flipped on him because he happened to run on a Republican ticket. It was just hilarious. Yeah, what I did before is I looked up some of his interviews, like in the late 80s, 90s, just to see what he would talk like and try to get a feel for him. And I don't know, he seemed all right. I mean, he's a businessman first and foremost. So you just try to listen to what he says and what he's doing. Don't worry about the political stuff. But after he became president, yeah, people just lost their minds. Remember all those celebrities and actors and actresses that said they were going to move to Canada if he wins? Well, I sure didn't see any of them moving here. So it's all just talk. Yes, Rupa. China. Infrastructure, yes. Like how much money went to causes like BLM where they just bought mansions for themselves? Yep. I hope everyone learns a lesson from that. He got suckered big time by those guys. I can't believe it. Just unbelievable. It blows my mind. You know? You're paying people that are burning down your places of business, and they're going and they're buying mansions. Yeah, you know? Hopefully the truth comes out. People have to hear the ugly truth as to what really went on. You never watched The Apprentice? Not a fan of reality TV unless they're hunting something? Also like Big Brother because those people are so stupid and it makes you laugh. Great people watching. Oh, okay. You're like me. I don't care for reality television. I don't care. It's just a waste of time. It's not really reality because they plan things out. And things are scripted anyway. Folks lost their collective shit because the TV told them to do so. Yes, that is a big problem. Don't let the TV tell you what to think. It has to, and that's why the news is so biased. It has to present the facts and let you decide. You know, don't tell me what I should think. Just tell me what has happened. Just the facts. There's a lot of infrastructure work in your city. They're doing it very poorly, though. Oh, yeah, that sucks. I sometimes wonder. I know it's not the city councilors and all that, but they have what is like a big bureaucracy below them of people that are not elected, but they're in power for life, and they have their own little power bases, and they pay off their buddies and do whatever they want, but it's not really the city councilors because those guys get voted in, voted out, whatever. Might be different in the U.S., but maybe with just slight differences. Starting to think that a clause in the infrastructure bill was specifically to maximize inconveniences on your commute. We have a joke up here. We have 4 seasons. We have fall, winter, spring, and road construction. Those are the 4 seasons. Hey, Jake D, good to see ya. You, sir, you missed out on my beach episode on Sunday Anime Chat, where we were looking at all the beach waifus that you could ask for. So don't miss the next one. Or, just watch the replay. That's always good. Let the squalid masses have the facts. Yes, I know. Goes against all of what you stand for in Wupstotska. Yeah, the worst season. Yeah, road construction, the worst season. What do we got here? Even after the auto rules took effect, the United States was slapped down by the way it tried to enforce them. A USMCA trade court, in a case brought by Mexico and Canada, found that Washington was applying the rules more strictly than was allowed. Gas. No. Say it ain't so. The United States has achieved more success in using the deal to pressure Mexican employers to comply with their country's labor reforms. Workers there can now vote freely and fairly on joining unions, approving contracts, and choosing union leaders. In the past, pro-company unions in Mexico signed contracts behind workers' backs. Strikes were rare, wages stayed low, and union leaders got rich. Once again, big surprise. The USMC armed the United States, Mexican workers, and union activists with new weapon, the Rapid Response Labor Mechanism. This allows the U.S. government to crack down on individual factories in Mexico by, for example, suspending tariff exemptions for their products if they violate Mexican labor law. Why is the U.S. controlling what Mexican labor law does? This is just ridiculous to me. That's way too much power. I think a lot of it comes from how they work out the contracts for construction. Yeah, probably. Oh, don't worry, Jake D. I forgive you, buddy. You just got to watch the replay. You're out of town. And that's okay. No problem. Just giving you a hard time, buddy. So, for instance, the government negotiates with the national, state, local government. They agree to finish the road project in a year. But the job only really takes 6 to 8 months. Yeah. Somebody's greasing somebody's palm. Kickbacks, whatever it is. There was something about a campaign on cancer that Biden and his team was running, and none of their money went to any research at all. It just went to salaries. We should remember oh man, that's just scummy. And that's disgusting. Construction is taking longer because of climate change. Yeah, DJ Ronchi. That's so much. Yeah, that's so true. Too much power. This is stooge speak. It's the best interest of the unions and probably contractors take the full year, but the way the workers earning what TV... Sorry. Chat's jumping around a little bit on me. Contractors take full year, the way the workers earning hourly wage make more, yes. Anybody remember the Doctor Who episode, The Idiot's Lantern? That's what TV is, an idiot box. Yes, Veritax, I've heard it called that for years. Whoopa Troopa, he's been gotten at by the enemy. Sewers overflowing, trains malfunctioning during the rain, climate. Totally not due to poor maintenance. Exactly. It's like all those fires in Canada. They're like, oh, all these fires. It's climate change. Oh no. Starting the fire. No, it's people going around starting fires because they're being careless. Or it's lightning strikes. It's not freaking climate change. Every summer we get lightning storms and they start fires here. I mean, my God. Shake your head, you know. Contractors make more from a 1-year job than for a 6 to 8 month. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a page from the New York City playbook. Why you so often see construction sites where no one is there for weeks on end, it seems. Yeah. Blink twice if the Stooges. I'm going to blink out SOS with my eyes. You just hope you're off from work on the day the street resurfacing machine shows up. I always wanted to see them. Oh, man. So, they, for asphalt and all that, for our streets, they just have a machine and it just has a dump truck driving in front of it and it just goes along and just rips up the asphalt and dumps it right into the dump truck. And yeah, it's pretty neat. And then after that, they've got the depth they have, and they just put a new fresh layer of asphalt over top. Bring out the rollers, roll it all down. Oh, it's pretty neat. You hit the forward for that one. Watching the beach waifu is a very safe endeavor, but like Isuzu, don't feed animals unless they belong to you. You got it right there, Veritax. All right, let's try to finish up this. Took a lot of key parts of Mexico's labor reform and we baked them directly into the trade agreement, said Josh Kagan, Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for Labor Affairs. we're holding Mexico to actually implement this labor reform they've undertaken. Why can't their own government do it? Like, what's going on here? Why does the U.S. have to hold the Mexican government to task? Shouldn't it be the people of Mexico holding their government to task? So far, the United States has used the mechanism 11 times to demand corrections of labor law violations. Mexico has so far cooperated by sending law enforcement and labor inspectors to guard ballot boxes in new votes that independent unions have mostly won. Under pressure from a U.S. complaint, Mexican officials and observers oversaw a union vote in which the old union was thrown out. The new union won the right to negotiate and an 8.5% wage increase plus bonuses. Nice. If workers had tried a similar organizing effort before, they would have fired us immediately, said Manuel Carpio, who works at General Motors plant in Silao in the state of Guanajuato. Pardon me. Still, it isn't a perfect process, said Julia Quinones, who organized an independent union at a U.S.-owned auto parts plant. VU Manufacturing in the city of Piedras Negras, Coahuila, across the Eagle Pass, Texas. The old union joined with the company to try to bar the new union. The two sides are still struggling. We have heard about other cases where the companies have respected the process and agreed to corrective plans, Quinones said, but the VU case has been plagued by a lot of deceit, corruption, and frustration. One problem, Quinones said, is that cases tend to be kicked back to the same Mexican courts and authorities that should have enforced the law in the first place. The obstacles we are facing are the normal resistance you might expect in a system that has been operating for at least 80 years. The worker provisions in the USMCA were strengthened in negotiations between Trump's trade team and congressional Democrats. Working on those talks was Catherine Tai, then the chief trade counsel on the House Ways and Means Committee and now Biden's top trade negotiator. The Biden administration says it views the worker provisions in the USMCA as a model for future trade deals that seek to benefit workers, not just companies, and want to expand their exports. I don't think anybody knew how the rapid response mechanism process would play out, the Labor Department's Lee said, but people have found that it's working as anticipated and as hoped. Yet, things rolled downhill from government down to squalid masses, as it should be. Well, all right, Jake D. Well, that's that story. Just hope we get things sorted out. We can have our trade flowing freely between our two countries, because that's important. Moving right along, I found this little article from CBC. Ontario's plan to let students enter full-time apprenticeships after grade 10 hurts learning, group warns. We'll see about that. A non-profit organization focused on promoting public education is criticizing the Ontario government planning to allow grade 11 students to enter skilled trades apprenticeships full-time, saying it prioritizes filling labor shortages in the economy over learning. My first argument right there, when you're learning an apprenticeship, you're still learning. So don't tell me that you're going to not learn when you're learning an apprenticeship at the same time. So long as the WHOOP agenda is advanced. Advance the WHOOP agenda. People for Education said in a report released Wednesday that a plan to allow students to leave high school classrooms behind and begin on-the-job training after completing grade 10 could limit their opportunities and lead to learning defects. No, I'm calling BS on that again. What did people do before that? At the turn of the century, some people didn't even go to high school and they were in a job. So you know what? Letting them get to grade 10, and if they want to go into an apprenticeship or whatever, go ahead. You're not going to have a learning deficit. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what they're getting at. I don't know who's paying these people. But it seems kind of sus to me. You love silly public school arguments? Hey, Godzillionaire. Good to see ya. How's everybody's favorite kaiju doing? We need to stop homeschooling and private schooling so kids can get the right schooling. Anyways, the U.S. is way behind every country in discourse. Yeah, I know, eh? If you can do it, homeschool your kid or send to private school. Public school is garbage. It's trash. It does not teach them anything. It doesn't teach critical thinking. It doesn't teach problem solving. It doesn't do anything good for the kids nowadays. If their learning defects, they occurred before the 10th grade. Yeah, Veritex, exactly. But it's just, whatever group this is, they've got some kind of agenda, because why wouldn't you think that the students would learn while they're doing their apprenticeship? You do. You learn lots of stuff. So, before that, they met quota. Yeah. It's a class, demographic warfare. They look down on people that do trades as if they're somehow less intelligent because they may work with their hands, but not necessarily with books. Yeah, that's the fallacy that they've continued to push. But I can tell you through my experience, I'm always consistently looking things up in books, in technical manuals, in parts books, all sorts of things to learn. You can't know everything, so you have to look things up. It goes on here to say, it is really important that kids complete all those compulsory courses in grade 11 and grade 12 because it's where they learn a lot of essential skills for jobs. Executive Director Annie Kidder said in an interview. See, that, to me, that's the problem with the curriculum, school curriculum. Why wouldn't you get them to learn all those things starting, let's say, in grade 8? Grade 8, 9, 10. Take the time to teach them a little bit in each of those grades. So, you're not hearing the problem? If it teaches young fools to obey and combat a leader, there's no problems. What they ought to do instead of giving more money to teachers, incentivize kids with payouts quarterly for grades. Ooh. Yeah, that'd be okay. You learned in school and college, and you're also super dumb, so we're all stupid no matter what path we take. It's not that we're dumb, Lupa. It's the fact that we have different interests. So if something like, say, physics really interests you and you like it and you're really into it, you're good at it, you're proficient at it. Somebody who doesn't care about physics or is not interested in it isn't going to want to learn it. So you can't force somebody to learn something. They have to want to learn. So that's the way I look at it. It's like you're trying to make all these kids come out and they're supposed to be good in every subject, but people are going to have their strengths and they're going to have their weaknesses. So why are you trying to mold them into like having high grades in everything? It can't happen. People specialize, just like in your anime shows or even in video games, people specialize. Some people are really good at first-person shooters. Some people are just awesome at real-time strategy. Even better than if you try your hardest. Let's say you try your hardest in a first-person shooter. There's people that are just so much better because they've always practiced a lot and they're really into it. Hello, Joseph Dredd. I am the law. I have to say that every time I see your name. Just because. Good old Judge Dredd. The other thing is they treat secondary education as if it's one and done things instead of teaching you to learn as if learning is a lifetime thing. Yes. Learning is a lifetime thing. You don't just, you're through and you're done. No. Keep learning, and the way to learn even better is when you're teaching somebody. So if I have an apprentice that's learning under me, I learn too because I have to pass my knowledge along and explain, and sometimes they will figure out things that I haven't seen before, and we swap knowledge back and forth. That's the way it goes. At least do the Carl Urban Judge Dredd. Yeah, sorry. It's just that one's a little more silly, the Sylvester Stallone one. I am the law. Learning is a lifetime thing? Nonsense. You've never heard of any point. Yep. Well, let's see if we can get through this here. Ontario announced on March it would allow young workers to apply for their Ontario Secondary School Diploma as mature students upon the completion of a 2 to 5 year on-the-job training program in a skilled trade. The move is part of a wider push to get more students into trades to address immense labor shortages in Ontario. The province says it wants to build 1.5 million new homes over the next decade, and construction sector alone needs 72,000 new workers by 2027 to fill positions vacated by retiring baby boomers. Yes, that's happening. I mean, if you look at the demographics and the population, baby boomers are retiring. They're getting to that retirement age, and a lot of them are in the skilled trades, and there's going to be gaps. And I'm sure people are going to be headhunted. I know I probably will be. People will probably be like, hey, do you want to leave the job you're at now and come and work for us? And, it's like you either say yes or no, or, it's going to get like that pretty darn quick. Where did we go here? Labor Minister Monty McNaughton said earlier this year, Kidder said while it's important the province gets more students into skilled trades, it shouldn't come at the expense of valuable life skills learned in grade 11 and 12. The worry is about missing the rest of high school and asking kids to make choices when they're very young. We want to make sure that a 16-year-old has a whole bunch of possibilities. Apprenticeship completion rate's only 36%, Stats Canada. Kidder said especially a problem as Statistics Canada reports only 36% of apprentices in Canada receive a certification within a period twice the expected length of the program. People for Education said the province would be better off improving programs like the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, where students earn a high school diploma at the same time as they're working toward an apprenticeship, through a cooperative education placement. The group also recommended the government provide more resources for parents, students, and teachers, especially guidance and career counselors, to learn about trades, while also advocating for de-streaming, the practice of dividing students based on their perceived academic ability or prior achievement in grades 10, 11, and 12. Pop culture is about to be making the big bucks. Yeah, that's fine. I probably wouldn't leave anyway. If they offered me, I'd be like, nah, it's all right. I'm pretty happy where I'm at. Same thing is happening in the U.S. high school, or the U.S. school counselors are pushing people who don't need to go to college instead of learning a trade skill. Yeah, that just sickens me. Stop pushing the kids to go to a college or university when they should try to look into the trades and be like, oh, I can work with my hands, I can make decent money, I can do all sorts of myriad of different trades out there for every thing you could ever want to do. Yes. They don't want to make choices for 11th, 12th grade. They've been trying to ask your daughter for her career path since 5th grade. What the hell? I'd be like, stop pestering my daughter. She's in the 5th grade. Like, leave her alone. Me personally, I didn't know that I wanted to be in the millwright trade until I was out of high school. I had worked the summer, and then that's when I decided. I was out of high school, and I worked during the summer, and then at the end of in like September, I decided I was going to go to trade school. You seriously wonder what life skills anybody learns in the 11th and 12th grade that they would not have already picked up? Other civics courses or something? I don't remember any when you were in high school. Yeah. 5th grade, it is excessive. That's what I think. Why are you bugging a 10-year-old what they want to do? Leave them alone. You need more social science majors. Oh, Jake D. You're going to get it, buddy. Matt Bradley, the Toronto School District Board's OYEP coordinator, said while he respects some objections raised by People for Education's report, many students struggle finding programs that are suitable for them and actually excel in on-site job placements. Yes. He said some students are ready for apprenticeships at the beginning of grade 11, while others aren't ready by the time they finish high school. There isn't necessarily a correlation between the maturity of a student and their age, says Bradley. He says more focus should be put on having students fully understand what they're getting into with a full-time apprenticeship, while possibly adding criteria to the grade 10 curriculum to make sure students are prepared for that step. There's a lot of really intelligent objections to how I might roll out, and I think those should be part of the consultation, says Bradley. The details really matter in something like this. Those details likely won't come until after Ontario begins consultations this fall with employers, unions, education stakeholders, trainers, parents, and others. Ministry of Education spokesman Grace Lee said in an email statement that the government has been holding skilled trades fairs across the province and speaking to stakeholders in order to implement accelerated apprenticeship pathways. One of the recommendations People for Education made to the ministry is its report is to convene an education task force to provide advice to the government on the apprenticeship plan. In a statement Wednesday, the Ontario NDP and People for Education report reflects concerns raised by teachers, parents, trade unions, and advocacy groups. I think the teachers are concerned because they get so much money. The school gets so much money that for each student that is in the class. So the less students that are in the class, they don't get as much money for the school. So that's why they are worried. 100% on that one. You changed the other about 7 times between 5th grade and 12th grade. Wow. Ministry of Education, what kind of Hogwarts shit is that? Ministry of Education. Maybe 30 years of government studies will find a way to solve the problems of today's youth. Yeah. Don't you know anything, Vic D? It's gender studies. That's gonna be the breakout one that everybody's gonna want to hire you for. Where'd we go here? If the new apprenticeship pathway is not carefully created to ensure student safety and success, it will put students' futures at risk. Ontario NDP education critic Chandra Pasma said. Pasma added the program was approved without details about how it will be conducted and the province needs to listen to the concerns. They'll be fine. You know, your grandparents, my grandparents, even great-grandparents, they probably didn't finish high school. And they probably just did just fine. They got a job, they earned money, they made a life for themselves and their family. So you know what? It'll be just fine. People are freaking out over nothing. But I'd still like to know where these people from this group are getting their money from. Those in the construction industry are more supportive of Ontario's plan as the province struggles to keep up with housing demand and desperately needs more workers. Chris Smith, a contractor and owner of Woodsmith Construction, said he started learning and apprenticing with his father on job sites when he was 14 years old. He now runs his own firm and says the trades have provided a career pathway that has been incredibly rewarding. That type of learning experience for me, when I finally got into it, was where I learned I could excel, Smith said. It is about on-the-job experience. The job itself is the classroom. Both Smith and Bradley said there are many college-level courses that apprenticeships have to pass, and that classroom learning during an apprenticeship is as vigorous as any college training program. As a means for someone who does not feel like they are fitting in or belonging in a traditional high school system, the apprenticeships can offer the type of interrelationship, the literacy skills, and mathematics skills, he said. This is all part of the trades used on the daily. Yep. I think they're crying over nothing. Grandpa D only went to 5th grade. There you go. And he did just fine. Everybody seems to forget. That's Daddy will probably point to the game's social media and let me guess some form of right-wing conspiracy theory as to why the youth is suffering. Yeah. All right. Well, before we start getting into some pictures, because I do have pictures. You guys know I have pictures. It's time for a little bit of shameless self-promotion.
Oh, hey there everybody. How are you? Well, I don't always play video games, but when I do, I make sure to safely make a safety save in a safe environment. And if you don't know how to make a safety save, well then make sure you check out Pop Culture Mechanics, 9 a.m. Mountain Time and 10 a.m. Central on Saturday mornings, where you can learn how to make a safety save that you might be so excited you could dance if you wanna. So, come on and check out Pop Culture Mechanics on Saturday mornings. Going to see you there. Bye.
Finally! Yes! Whew! My God! Yeah, there you go. And I just want to say hello to everybody on Kick, everybody on Rumble, and my usual YouTube peeps. Yeah, Grandpa D only went to 5th grade. Yeah, there you go. Worked for Norfolk Southern 40 years and was Feinske. Yeah, yep. See? Just fine. Safety save. May it be praised. Praise the safety save. It's important. All right, I got pictures. These sorted out here. Display capture. There we go. Took some pictures. These are going to be a little bit on the safety side. So other people are going to be the ones that are going to hurt you when you're out on the job site. You're never going to want to hurt yourself. And we had one fella here. He wanted to see what was in this crate. And instead of getting a screwdriver or a power bit or whatever and taking the top off and looking in, he decided to rip these out. And these things are like, they're staples, but they're like super sharp. And yeah, we put a white card in on that, which is when it's like reporting something to the managers. It's like, look, this guy went and did this, and then he just left it. So we look how long those are. You're looking at some pretty big staples. Can you safety save on the job site? I wish. It'd be so much better if you could just start again. Shameless. Yeah. I mean, he's not welcome around there anymore. It's like, listen, if you're gonna do stupid stuff like this, you're not allowed to come on site anymore. So yeah, that was ugly. Like, those things could just reach out and, as you're walking by, they'll get you. Next up, this one. So during the wintertime, we had problems with the downspout for drainage. And I just got some shots of how much I had to clear away. Because if you look up here, that is not... Somebody tried to put a round peg in a square hole. So whoever did this job of fixing up the eaves trough, that's a fail right there, everybody. So I got a couple of shots of it just to catalog. Whoopi used ice punch on Canada. Or Canada. Yeah. I mean, look at that. That's terrible. This has been fixed. It's been a year. Like, this was taken in 2022. In January. And I should have some new shots of it. But yeah. These are the heat trace that you put up there to keep the ice from building up inside the pipe. But as you can see, if the heat trace doesn't work, it just gets filled up with ice. And this is what happens when your building is below or at the low point, when there's melting going on. It melts, or the water gets in and then it freezes when it gets cold, and you have a whole building, or half a building anyway, that has like a skating rink. There, that's a little bit better lighting. But yeah, that's the building doesn't have any kind of insulation or anything. You can see the walls, you can see the metal cladding, but still, it would be nice if they could do a little bit to raise it up. And there's a view from the other side. And yeah, it makes it pretty treacherous to walk indoors. Oh, what are we looking at here? Okay. I don't know if I've told you guys before, but you got to be very careful with hydraulic hoses. Hydraulic hoses will kill you. And they will do that because high pressure hydraulic injection. You can Google it if you want. I wouldn't. I don't need to see that. I've seen it already. I don't need to see what a hydraulic injection injury looks like, and it's not good. If you get it in your hand, you have to rush to the hospital right away, as fast as you can. When you get there, they're going to take you, and they're going to fillet your hand like a fish. They're going to take a knife, they're going to slice you open until they get down to where all the oil is, and they're going to scrub it out of there. And they got to make sure it's all gone, because it will eat all the fatty deposits in your hand or in your whole body. And so you have to get rid of that as fast as you can. And then they will, once it's done that, once they clean you out, they'll bind you up and wrap it up, and you won't be able to move it for however long it takes you to heal. As you can see, these ones were for the snow blade, and you're starting to wear on the outer core and getting down to where the cords are for the inner core of the hydraulic hose. So I'm cataloging these just to so I have a proof and a record of, hey, this was wrong and I have to get this fixed. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. I'm just trying to figure out what these are all about. No, there we go. This is why you change blades out on your snowplow. For those of you that know about snowplows or have been around them or are in a climate that will have them, this isn't the blade of the snowplow. This is the backing. And what has happened is the employees, the operators, have used it and worn it down so much that it has worn it all the way out to the bolt holes. Change blades. What's wrong with Wesley Snipes? I liked him as Blade. He's a good Blade. He's got to be sharp, though. So as you can see, when you... this thing should be actually twice as wide as it is. So from here to the hole, there should be that much out from this edge. But they just kept going over and scraping the ground and scraping and scraping, and they wore the blade down, and then it got to the support bracket behind it, and it just kept wearing it down. Who needs edge distances on holes? Yeah, there you go. So now I have to scrap this whole thing. And this was one of the this is a new support for the snow blade, and this is an old one. So that like, look at how much that's worn out. It's crazy. Now I have to buy a whole new snow blade. Yeah, look at that. So that's what a new one looks like. And that's the old one. Unbelievable. But yeah, so This new snowblade will probably cost about $8,000 or something like that. But it's necessary, and I'm gonna bug my manager to make sure that we can get it now rather than waiting until wintertime. Because wintertime is you're just asking for it. You know, you're not gonna get it. Better to get it now. This bag is this is catching all the dirt and sand that fall into storm drains. Instead of having it go down the storm drain and clog it, you put these bags in there and it lets the water through but not the debris. But that caught a lot of debris, and I think we emptied it out. And that was almost a full bag of just dirt, sand, rocks, all sorts of stuff. Here I was just looking in to see if everything was all right. Looks like the beach you were just at. You're just checking on there to make sure that water is flowing. So that there's ice right here off to the side you can see. And we were checking to make sure that it's got a place to go. Right here, the water flows and it washes away the dirt here. So you don't want that. That's erosion. You don't want that. So you make something for it. So I just grabbed a piece of channel, painted it up, cut it to the right size, put it out here. Now this will flow into and not erode the dirt away around it and just flow nicely in there. And that's what you want. And I believe, oh no, I guess I didn't get an after shot of when I made up for the other ones there, but that's okay. This is a valve that was leaking. And anytime you have a leaking valve, you always put a red ribbon around it so that everybody knows it's leaking. And I'm just trying to get information. So if you have a place that's hard to get into, always take your camera with you. Take your camera, take a picture. Try to get numbers and such off it, names, anything you can do to help look it up so that you can get what you need. And I believe that was an H2S slime too. So it was probably just doing a slight leak. I'm just going to check and see what I got else, what else I have for you here. Could be some other interesting pictures for you guys to see. Oh, is this some new stuff I had? Oh yeah. This. Bear with me here. I'm just going to find it out. Oh yeah. So. There we go. So we have a piece of equipment called a reactor, and it gets things very hot. It heats up the sulfur to about 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. And you put a piece like this. This is called an insert. You put that in there, and it's made out of different kinds of material. I think this is alloy 20 or something like that. But we put in stuff like stainless 311 H stainless or 304, stuff like that, just to see how it lasts, how it holds up over the whole year. And this one did pretty good. Like, that's not bad as far as holding up. I should have had a shot of a new one, but I didn't. I don't think I have one. But as you can see, this thing got eaten up pretty good. And I believe I even took a little video of it. And it just took that top right off. Like, that's all supposed to be connected, but it just came right off. There you go. So yes, inserts. All right. Well, I think that's just about it for this session with you guys. Gotta say, it's pretty darn fun. It was nice seeing you guys all come out today too. Hillary, if it's sulfur. Gotta be careful, Alex. You don't want her coming for you. That's for sure. Yeah, what a great time I had today. I'm glad you guys were able to come out. I hope you're all enjoying your 4th of July celebrations. Lots of fireworks and food and all that good stuff. Hope you're being safe out there. Enjoy the weather. I'd just like to thank everybody that stopped by today. People like DJ Ronnie G and Veritax. And of course, Woopa Troopa. And Alex Moore. And Jake D. It's always fun. And Godzillionaire, everyone's favorite kaiju. I think that was everybody. Oh no, and Joseph Dredd, of course. How could I forget our favorite judge? USA, USA. Today was the last day someone has all 10 fingers. So true. Yeah, be careful out there. So yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Hey, try to smack that like button and give me a subscribe or a follow if you wouldn't mind. Hopefully you like my content. I try to switch it up and do varying things, you know, whether it's trades talk or, you know, video games on Saturdays and anime chat on Sundays. I try to keep it a variety going here. There's other good channels out there too, people that make good content, like Pacific 414. and Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner, Ronan66, DJ Ronnie G. He was in the chat. He makes his good content too. There's Brandon the Anime Guy, the Nerdporeal Lifeform, Angry Canadian, who I watched actually this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, my time. He's in Japan. He was playing some Sonic Adventure. So I watched him play that for a bit. And there's Whoopa. He's got his own channel. And Punkwaddle from Floral from Under a Rock. And he has his own YouTube channel as well. I got a Discord. It's called The Shop. It's where all the tradesmen hang out. I'm on Twitter, but mostly just to advertise the channel. I try not to interact with too many people that are unhinged because it's just not good. So coming up, Saturday, that'll be game stream time. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I'm getting further along. I'm hopefully getting to the last boss or close. I left off on a very hard boss the last time, so I got to pick it up from there and see if I can't take them out. Then Sunday Anime Chat. This month's theme is beach episodes. You want to see your waifus running around in sexy bikinis? Then show up to Sunday Anime Chat and bring your suggestions for shows that have beach episodes. I have quite a list going so far, and I had a little help last week, but I need more help. It's such a rough job watching beach episodes. Oh, so tough. Man, oh man. Life is just struggle. And then once again, we circle right around to Tuesday and Trades Talk Tuesday. And I'm hoping to have some special guests on, people from different trades. I'd like to interview them and hear what they have to say, what their journey to being in the trades was, and all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully they bring pictures, because I like to see lots of pictures and see what they've experienced. So yes, Pokemon has a beach episode. Whoopa, you gotta tell me which one was that? What season? What episode? I gotta find it. Because you suggested it, so we'll get that done. I have more to pick from. And if you missed Sunday's stream, make sure you watch on the replay to see which 3 anime shows I picked for beach episodes. And then tell me which one you like, because I already convinced Angry Canadian. He watched it and he's like, oh, I gotta watch that one show now. So look at that. Just with one beach episode, he wants to watch the show. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I will definitely check out my Discord and see if there's any suggestions on there. So yeah, if that is it for everybody, then I hope you guys have yourselves an excellent 4th of July. You guys be safe out there, have fun, and hooray for freedom. Like, you guys are great. Americans, I know, we're Canadians, you're Americans, but we're also good friends. So that's what I like about it. Live beside each other, be good friends, and hopefully help each other out. So until next time, everyone, I've been Pop, and I am signing off.